What if the Cold War's greatest threat wasn't the Soviets, but your own government? Imagine this, it's a warm summer morning in 1980. Families are rushing to catch trains in Bologna, Italy. Children laugh, lovers kiss goodbye. Then, at 10:25 a.m., a massive explosion rips through the station waiting room. A suitcase bomb detonates with devastating force, 85 innocent people dead, over 200 maimed. The nation reels in horror. Fingers point immediately to leftist radicals, the communists everyone feared. Calls flood in for tougher laws, stronger security, a crackdown on the Red Menace. But what if that bomb wasn't planted by communists at all? What if it was detonated by shadowy forces backed by NATO itself to blame the left, stoke terror, and keep Europe firmly in the grip of anti-communist hardliners? This isn't a conspiracy thriller. This is Operation Gladio, NATO's secret armies, exposed in 1990 after decades of hidden horror. And the chilling truth? These stay-behind networks meant to fight Soviet invasion, allegedly morphed into tools of domestic terror, false flag atrocities designed to manipulate elections, crush dissent, and justify authoritarian control. Buckle up. We're diving deep into one of the darkest chapters of the Cold War, a tale of buried weapons caches, fascist recruits, CIA orchestration, and blood-soaked deceptions that claimed hundreds of lives across Europe. The birth of the gladiators, NATO's hidden sword against communism. Picture Europe in the late 1940s. World War II has ended, but the Iron Curtain descends. The US and its allies fear a Soviet blitzkrieg could overrun the continent in days. What if conventional armies fall? Enter the stay-behind networks, clandestine guerrilla forces hidden in plain sight, ready to sabotage bridges, assassinate occupiers, and wage asymmetric war from the shadows. Codenamed Gladio, Latin for sword, in Italy, these units were set up across Western Europe starting in the early 1950s. Coordinated by NATO's Secret Allied Clandestine Committee, ACC, and Clandestine Planning Committee, CPC, they were armed, trained, and funded by the CIA and MI6. Over a dozen countries hosted them: Italy, Belgium, Denmark, France, Germany, Greece, the Netherlands, Norway, Portugal, Turkey, even neutral Switzerland, Sweden, and Austria. Recruits? Often ex-Nazis and fascist diehards, because, as one Belgian Gladio handler put it, they were confirmed anti-communists who hated the Reds more than anyone. In Italy, they included Mussolini's former death squad commanders. Weapons caches, hundreds of them, were buried in forests, fields, and under churches. Explosives, machine guns, radios. Training happened on remote Mediterranean islands or with U.S. Green Berets and British SAS. Officially, pure defense. But declassified documents and testimonies reveal a darker mandate: not just resist invasion, but prevent internal subversion, code for stopping communists from winning elections democratically. In Italy, where the Communist Party was poised for power, this meant war on the home front, the strategy of tension, false flag terror to terrorize the people into submission. Here's where it turned sinister. With no Soviet tanks rolling west, Gladio didn't stay idle. It allegedly went rogue, or was deliberately unleashed, in a strategy of tension. The goal? Commit atrocities, blame the left, scare voters into the arms of the right, and block any shift toward socialism. The mastermind testimony? Vincenzo Vinciguerra, a neo-fascist Gladio operative jailed for life. In court and interviews, he spilled it all. You had to attack civilians, the people, women, children, innocent people far from the political game. The reason was simple: force the public to turn to the state for greater security. Key atrocities linked to Gladio networks. 1969, Piazza Fontana bombing, 17 dead in a bank explosion. Initially blamed on anarchists, one fell from a police window during interrogation. Later tied to neo-fascists with Gladio ties. A 1972 Peteano attack, car bomb kills 3 policemen. Blamed on Red Brigades for years. Vinciguerra confessed. He did it, protected by Gladio handlers who covered it up. 1980, Bologna Station massacre, that suitcase bomb, 85 slaughtered. Neo-fascist group Nuclei Armati Rivoluzionari, NAR, convicted, with explosives traced to Gladio caches. Italian intelligence officers jailed for obstructing justice and misleading investigators to protect the network. Dozens more, train bombings, shootings, kidnappings. Hundreds dead across Italy's years of lead. Always the pattern: blame communists, watch public demand, law and order from right-wing governments. Gladio wasn't just Italian. In Belgium, the Brabant killers, supermarket massacres, 1980s, used Gladio weapons. In Turkey, the deep state Ergenekon network tied to Gladio staged coups and terror. Each sentence can be long if the input requires it but must not exceed 30 words. If a sentence is longer, split it into 2 or more natural sentences without altering the content. The 1990 bombshell, Prime Minister Andreotti spills the secrets. For decades, denials. Then in 1990, Italian judge Felice Casson, probing the Peteano case, unearthed top-secret files proving Gladio's existence. Prime Minister Giulio Andreotti, cornered, confessed to Parliament, yes, a NATO-backed secret army operated in Italy since 1956 with 622 operatives and 139 arms caches. Pandemic panic across Europe. Belgium admitted its Gladio SD-8. Switzerland exposed P-26. Greece, Denmark, Norway all confirmed stay-behinds. The European Parliament condemned it as a violation of sovereignty. NATO? Stone silence. CIA? No comment. But the real shock, evidence Gladio had gone terrorist. Andreotti claimed it was disbanded in 1972, but caches were found into the 1990s and meetings continued. If you're finding this as mind-blowing as I did while digging through declassified files and whistleblower testimonies, you're not alone. This is the kind of hidden history that rewrites everything we think we know about the Cold War. If you want more deep dives into suppressed truths, like how these networks allegedly evolved or echo in today's headlines, hit that subscribe button on my YouTube channel right now. Turn on notifications because the next expose drops soon. You won't want to miss it. Echoes in the shadows. Did Gladio ever really die? Officially, Gladio ended with the Cold War. But whispers persist of Gladio B, a pivot from fascist stay-behinds to radical Islamist proxies in Central Asia and the Caucasus. Whistleblower Sibel Edmonds, a former FBI translator, alleged NATO shifted tactics post-1990s, using figures like Fethullah Gulen, the Turkish imam with CIA ties, to destabilize regions rich in oil, gas, and pipelines, blaming Islamic terror to justify interventions. From Chechen wars to Syrian chaos, some see the same playbook. Arm extremists, stage atrocities, control the narrative. In 2025, as hybrid wars rage from Ukraine to the Middle East, paramilitary ghosts and false flag suspicions linger. Declassified British files even hint MI6 reapplied Gladio lessons in modern conflicts. Was Bologna the last gasp or a template still in use? The arms caches are gone, but the strategy of tension, it thrives in the shadows. This is Operation Gladio, proof that the deadliest enemies sometimes wear the uniforms of your protectors. History's darkest secret army didn't vanish, it evolved. If this chilled you to the core and ignited a fire for the truth, smash that subscribe button now. Comment your thoughts below. What modern event smells like Gladio to you? And share this with someone who needs to wake up. More explosive revelations coming soon. Stay vigilant. The sword is still drawn. What if the terrorists we fear were recruited, trained, and protected by the very agencies sworn to fight them? You've heard the whispers. Al-Qaeda leaders meeting U.S. officials in embassies. Bin Laden family members flown on NATO planes. 9/11 hijackers trained in Turkey under watchful eyes. And the rise of ISIS, not as a rogue caliphate but as a willful decision by Washington to unleash controlled chaos. This isn't fringe fiction. This is Operation Gladio B, the alleged evolution of NATO's secret armies from fascist stay-behinds in Cold War Europe to Islamist proxies in the post-Soviet era. Exposed primarily by one fearless whistleblower, it paints a nightmare where the war on terror is a scripted play, with the same directors pulling strings on both heroes and villains. If Operation Gladio A used neo-Nazis to bomb trains and blame communists, what if Gladio B flipped the script, arming jihadists to bomb towers and blame Muslims, all to justify endless wars, pipelines, and control over Eurasia's heartland? We're peeling back the veil on the most explosive claim in modern intelligence history. Hold on tight, this one rewires everything. From Gladio A to Gladio B, the pivot that changed the enemy overnight. The original Gladio ended with the Berlin Wall, but the playbook didn't. As the Soviet threat faded in the early 1990s, NATO and the CIA allegedly needed a new boogeyman to keep the fear machine running. Enter the Islamist turn. The key whistleblower, Sibel Edmonds, a former FBI translator hired right after 9/11. Fluent in Turkish, Arabic, and Farsi, she stumbled into wiretaps and documents that shattered her world. Gagged by the U.S. government under state secrets, privilege, making her one of the most classified people in America, she went public anyway. Edmonds claims the shift to Gladio B formalized around 1996-1997. After scandals in Turkey exposed the old fascist networks, the FBI itself labeled it Gladio B in internal files. Why the name? Same strategy of tension, new masks, Replace European neo-fascists with radical Islamists from the Afghan Mujahideen pool. The Afghan Arabs, trained by the CIA against the Soviets. The goal? Destabilize Central Asia, the Caucasus, and the Middle East to counter Russia and China, secure oil-gas pipelines, and radicalize regions for endless intervention. Turkey and Azerbaijan became the new hubs, conduits for training arms and operatives. Edmonds. They switched from communism-clad terror cells to Muslims-clad terror cells to distract and contain competing powers. The smoking guns, Zawahiri, bin Laden, and NATO's secret flights. Buckle up, the details are jaw-dropping. From 1997 to 2001, Edmonds translated intercepts showing Ayman al-Zawahiri, future Al-Qaeda No. 2, meeting U.S. military or intelligence officials at the American embassy in Baku, Azerbaijan. Not once, regularly. Zawahiri and Mujahideen were flown on NATO aircraft to Central Asia and the Balkans for destabilization ops. Osama bin Laden and family members? Same treatment, transported and protected. In 1997, NATO pressured Egypt's Hosni Mubarak to release Zawahiri-linked militants from prison. They were flown to Turkey for Pentagon training. Turkey's role was massive, Gladio B's European-Asian bridge. Operatives trained there, including Edmonds alleges, some 9/11 hijackers, visa denials overturned by the State Department. Exempt from FBI monitoring, only 4 countries, UK, Turkey, Azerbaijan, Belgium, NATO HQ. Funding? Heroin trade exploded post-2001 Afghanistan invasion. Opium production skyrocketed under U.S. watch. Money laundered through Cyprus, Malta, Dubai. Nuclear secrets sold to Pakistan, Saudi Arabia via Turkish-Israeli networks. Edmonds even ties in Fethullah Gulen, the Turkish imam with CIA links, whose movement radicalized Central Asia under the guise of schools. Gladio B's moderate face. And 9/11, Edmonds calls it a Gladio B up. ISIS, a rebrand of Al-Qaeda proxies with U.S. knowledge, per DIA Chief Michael Flynn. ISIS rise was a willful decision. The masterminds, NATO, CIA, Pentagon, and a Turkish deep state twist. Run from a secret Pentagon office coordinated by NATO's old clandestine committees, MI6, Turkish MIT, intelligence, and rogue elements involved. Key figures. CIA's Graham Fuller handled Gulen. State Department officials like Mark Grossman, named in intercepts giving orders to Al-Qaeda. In Xinjiang, China, Chechnya, Russia, the Balkans, same pattern. Arm Islamists, stage chaos, blame locals, justify NATO presence. Edmonds wrote it as fiction in The Lone Gladio, because her memoir was 100% classified. But she insists it's real. If this blows your mind like it did mine, uncovering wiretaps, D-class docs, and a whistleblower silenced at every turn, you're seeing the matrix crack. This is the hidden history explaining why terror never ends. Want more on how Gladio echoes in Ukraine, Syria, or today's headlines? Subscribe to the channel now. Notifications on. The next drop exposes even darker connections. Did Gladio B ever end, or is it evolving into Gladio C? No official admissions ever. NATO? Silent. CIA? No comment. Edmonds remains the primary source, backed by some corroboration. Flynn on ISIS, Sunday Times spikes on Zawahiri ties. Critics call it unproven, reliant on one whistleblower, but original Gladio was denied for decades until parliaments confessed in 2025 as hybrid wars rage and terror justifies surveillance states, patterns persist. From Sahel jihadists to Uyghur networks, same playbook. Gladio B whispers, the enemy isn't out there. Sometimes it's engineered. This is the shadow war they don't want you to see. If it ignited questions, comment below. Which terror event screams Gladio to you? Smash subscribe, share this far and wide. The truth is our weapon. More coming, stay sharp. The sword never sheaths,